what is wisdom. I was trying to understand this concept from a biblical perspective, and I found, of course, this month, the month dedicated to the departed souls, the month of November, began with All Saints' Day, and the second day was dedicated to remember all those who have gone ahead of us by dying. It is wonderful. In fact, as years go by, if a person acquires wisdom, which results in a meaningful life. So how to make life meaningful for oneself. And I think that is what is wise people try to. Try to make your life a meaningful one. For you, meaningful, as well as for others. It is even greater if by the evening of a life of a person, namely the end comes, he has acquired wisdom which helps him to die peacefully. A meaningful death. And I think that is the wisest thing that all of us can do. Because death is a reality. Nobody can deny death. Death comes. And biblically it is said, death is, it is something like a thief. Comes at the unexpected time. Unexpected. And that's why preparedness is called for. And that is where the wisdom consists in. Only a wise person can prepare his life as if every day is a gift from God. And then when the final day comes, he can accept death without regrets. Without regrets. As you know, the physicians, namely doctors, nurses, priests, and counselors are prepared in a very special way with special courses, or they are trained to accompany terminal patients in their last or difficult days or hours to comfort them and to embrace a meaningful death. I'm very sure, even in our midst now, there are, Reni as well as Matthew also is a doctor. He is an anesthesia specialist. So he would know, what it means to accompany a terminal patient. But a time comes, though the medical, facilities or technologies have so much improved, a time comes wherein doctors also cannot do anything further to continue or to prolong the life of someone. Medicines cannot help, or people who have been trained in a very special way, even they cannot help people to prolong their life. And I think that is where, these terminal patients, if they depend upon, or if the trained people, if they depend upon only on human wisdom, I don't think they will make real contribution to help the person to accept death in a meaningful way. And that is where, the absurdity of death comes out. If we really depend upon only our human wisdom, our human knowledge, or our human intelligence, that will not make any sense. And that is why faith, or the Christian's faith, God-given wisdom, we call it, which tells us that death is not only a sad and inevitable necessity, but that it has a positive meaning in human life. So death is a necessity, it is inevitable, but in the Christian perspective, death has a profound meaning. A profound meaning. And I think that profound meaning is what is being laid out in today's liturgical context. It says, dying with Christ, a Christian believes that he or she will rise with him. By dying with Christ, Christians believe that he or she shall rise again with Christ. Now imagine today's parable in your own context. Now you heard the parable in the Gospel that the bridesmaids leaving their homes to go and await the arrival of the bridegroom. And a conversation takes place between them. If you listen to the Gospel, there was a conversation. The following was the conversation. It says, do you think we need to take some extra oil? Someone asked. Then the other said, why? The bridegroom will arrive at sunset anyway. That is what the program says. But what if he is delayed? That was marked by another. Then we shall not have enough oil for our night. So come on, someone remarked. Why are you so negative, so pessimistic? Why do you always complicate things? You want us to carry extra oil that we are not going to use. Why can't you see the bright side of life or bright side of things? Yes, but you never know. Me, I am taking some extra oil just in case it is needed. So that is how the conversation continued. But we know the rest of the story, and you know the rest of the story. You heard it in the Gospel. The bridegroom is delayed, and the bridesmaids who took extra oil proved to be the wise ones. This is what we are told in the parable. So therefore, wisdom here has little to do with personal intelligence or IQ. This is what very often people mistake. People think wisdom is to have a high degree of intelligence or IQ. That is not real wisdom. But what is wisdom? To me, as I have found, wisdom here has little to do with personal intelligence or IQ. Wisdom is a choice. Remember, wisdom is a choice to do all it takes to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. So wisdom, if you want to be a wise person, if you want to live your life wisely, it says, first you have to make a choice. A choice. And only human person, in freedom, only we can make a choice in life. And if you make a choice in life to do, all it takes is to prepare for the worst while hoping for the best. So that means we need to be prepared at all times, even to face the worst of the situation and to survive it happily. And that is what is, wisdom means biblically. But it is not very easy. It's not very easy. And I think that is where the gospel texts come to inspire us, come to help us. As I said, the foolish ones only hope for the best and do not prepare for the worst possibility. So now you can make the distinction between what is foolish and what is wise. Wise person, as I said, wise and foolish, all of them make choices. We are all making choices. But the wise one, they make the choice and then they prepare themselves, to undergo even the worst situation. And to hope the best to come out even in the worst situation. Whereas the foolish ones only hope for the best and do not prepare for the worst possibility. And this is the difference. In the parable, the bridegroom was delayed. We are told the bridegroom was delayed and arrived at midnight. Meanwhile, the 5 bridesmaids who took no extra oil had discovered that they were running short of oil and gone to the village to get some more. Meanwhile, the procession left for the bridegroom's house. By the time they got the oil and found their way to the bridegroom's house, the party had started and they were locked out. They must have gotten the shock of their lives when they called out, "Lord, Lord, open to us the door." And they heard the voice of the bridegroom, "I do not know it." I think this parable is found only in Matthew's Gospel. It's a very unique one. It is not in other Gospels, only in Matthew's Gospel. Probably it served as a warning to the early Christians who hoped for a speedy return of the Savior. Matthew is telling them that the return of the Lord may be delayed beyond their expectation and that they should therefore prepare for the long wait by providing enough oil in their lamps, namely living the faith. So in Matthew's message to his fellow Christians is still relevant to the Christians of our time. For all of us it is relevant, very much so. As we draw close to the end of the liturgical year, the Church, through the Gospel, invites us to contemplate the end of our lives and the end of the world. The way to prepare for the end is not to live in fear and anxiety, and not to go after prophets and missionaries that claim to have access to God's secret calendar of how and when the world will end. So remember, it is not living in anxiety or in fear, thinking that, oh, one day I will have to die, or I have to face death, or the world will come to an end. No, that is not the wisest thing to do. The wisest thing, as per the Gospel says, you need to live your life in faith. How and when the death will come, we do not know for sure. How then is the wise Christian to prepare for the end times? And that is what today's parable says. Today's parable gives us the answer. The best way to prepare for the end is to follow the example of those wise virgins or wise people. To prepare ourselves to face the worst thing, the unexpected things in our life. So the wise virgins took enough oil to keep their lamps burning. In the same way, we should engage and preserve in good work to keep our faith alive. That is the best way to make ourselves ready and prepared for the Lord, no matter when the Lord chooses to come amidst us. And may God bless you to be wise men and women, to live, to prepare every day with your faith, to accept the day-to-day life situations and face the worst